Morning. We are here at it's a little after 7 in the morning, and we've got a picnic today at where I live at 4 p.m. and I put on two briskets that weighed about 12, 13 pounds a piece. Now, after I trimmed them up, they were a little bit smaller. I don't know how much by, and I put them on at midnight last night, and they're up to 174 degrees this morning, so I'm going to take them off and wrap them. I've been watching them since I got up around 5, and they haven't gone up any. Well, it says 176 now. I got my Maverick wireless remote thing. Part of what it is, I set it up to cook last night, and I got this thing that some of y'all have asked about. It's a Temp controller by Lava Lock, and I bought it off of Lava Lock's website. And the reason I still use this Maverick is it's wireless. The Lava Lock comes with 3 additional probes. It's got one probe for the grill, and then it's got 3 additional probes you can put in meat, but it's not wireless, so you'd still have to come out and check on that anyway. Well, last night I was going to go to bed, and I can set the Maverick to set an alarm off for me in case something gets too hot or too cold or whatever. So we're going to open it up, and I'll show you the meats, how they are this morning, and run over the controls of this Lava Lock and how I have it set up on the Commander. I only did a little bit of bubble work with some duct tape to get it to work. You can, I'm sure, maybe if you were good enough to 3D print something, or you may not even have to go as far as what I did with my Bubba, but that's what I got going. That's what works for me. So let's take a look at it. This is the Lava Lock controller, and you see right here it's got a speaker with an arrow through it because I turned the alarm off, because whenever you turn it off and back on, that makes a heck of a racket. And so you hold the button down, and when you let it up, it turns the alarm off. If you don't turn the alarm off on the thing, every time you push the button here, it goes beep, 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 just that loud all the time. So first thing I do is always turn the alarm off. Now to set it, you hold the button in, and over here it starts flashing Fahrenheit, or if you rotate the knob, it'll go to Celsius. So I leave it on Fahrenheit, and then each time you press the button, it goes to a different digit. Now, like I said, it had 3 meat probes here, or three locations. You can run 3 different meats through it. So you scroll all the way through it, since I'm not running any meat probes, and you can get down here to the pit, and I got it set at well, it should have been 225, but it set at 224 anyway. But if you turn it up, the little light comes on for the fan, and the fan turns on. So we'll turn it back down. And then you click it again, and it's going to hold it. Well, this works pretty good to hold the temperature, but you still have to operate the exhaust port on the top of the dome. I don't know if it's because it still creates a draft through there or what. But this is the fan right here that goes to it. It's just a little old fan that I can't remember. I think it's 50 CFM. I'm not sure. But it slides into this little holder. And if you look right here, there's this gate. Now, if you were to use this holder like it was meant to be used to begin with, it should hang horizontally and not vertically. So whenever the fan comes on, it would blow this little flapper out of the way, and it would allow air to go right down into that port that goes into the intake of the pit, whatever pit you happen to be using it on. But since mine on this Commander is sitting vertically, that little flap stays open. And I think that's part of the issue with having to adjust the exhaust on the top of the dome, is because you still have to, as much as the airflow is restricted through here by the fan being on here, and there's about a 1/4 of an inch gap right here on the top of this fan, it may be just enough airflow that it allows for a certain amount of air to get through there and not being able to control your temperature like you should, like what you would expect to be able to be done with this. And here I have taken that cover off of the intake, this cover right here, and I think I could have left it on. After I did this, I probably could have left it on, but I covered up the holes with this duct tape, and that seems to be working pretty dang good as far as being able to hold the temperature. And like I said, I left it on here all night long, and the temperatures never got out of sight. And we're going to open this up and show you the meat that I've got cooking, because I'm about to take it off and wrap it up. This right here is the controller for the temperature controller. This is the probe for my Maverick right here, and it's going into that meat, telling me how hot the meat is. So I'm going to go ahead and close this back up right quick and go get my aluminum foil and wrap this thing up. So I just wanted to show y'all that, because if you stay here with the lid open too long, all that extra air gets to your fire and will feed your coals, and your temperature will go up without you wanting it where you don't want it to. So if you're looking at it, if you're just opening it all the time and you're running one of these temperature controllers, you're letting oxygen out of your control, and it's going to get your fire hotter, and you might run into some issues that way. So as long as you keep that lid shut and let the temperature controller do its job, and this goes even if you're not running a controller, if you open this thing up and you've got it tuned in, dialed in the way you want it to run a certain heat, you need to leave it that way, because every time you open that lid, it's going to whoosh in with some fresh air and really get your coals going again and making your fire hotter than what it needs to be. So let me go get my foil and I'll wrap these things up and get it going again. Now, as you can see here, I got 2 pieces of foil. Actually 4 total. I'm gonna scoop them up with my handy dandy spatulas. Aye.
Be right back.
Alright, that's one. And you see I left the fan unplugged from the controller over here, so it's not getting any electricity. Because whenever I open this thing up, every time you open it up and that temperature drops below 225 where it's set, it'll kick that fan on. So I don't want it to build up any excess heat while I'm working on trying to wrap this meat up and stuff. I want to show you one other thing that I've got going too while I've got this meat off here. Normally I use the water pan in here for a cook like this, but since I got 2 briskets on here, I wasn't sure what the drippings would be like and how much water I would need and stuff. So I took one of those big aluminum pans and put in here. You can see it up underneath that brisket. And I put water in it last night. Put about a gallon in it. And it's still running just fine. It hadn't gotten any, doesn't look like it's gotten any lower. And it's caught all the juice that's dripped off of the briskets. So let me get this other one. Let me get this one back on here and get this other one wrapped up. Now then, this lava lot, I bought it because it was less expensive than other controllers that do similar functions. Like so many things on the market, you can spend as much money as you want to on stuff. I always compare things to bass fishing. You can be content going down here at the lake and fishing off a pier with a Zebco 202 and a little bit of tackle. But if it gets under your skin too much, you're gonna upgrade to a better rod and reel. Well, then you get beyond that, you're gonna want different tackle. You're gonna want something that looks more fish-like. You're gonna get into worms. You know, an inexpensive hobby can turn into something that's going from the pier to a flat-bottom boat. And then you want a motor on that boat, so you go buy you an old 9.9 Chrysler off of Craigslist or something. For long, that's not going to do it for you. So then you're going to get into a 21-foot Skeeter, and it goes on and on. I understand golf is much the same way. You can go get you a set of Kmart clubs off of Craigslist and wind up with a Callaway Great Big Bertha. It depends on what you want to spend on it, such as this. You know, you can be satisfied with a $300 barbecue pit, and then maybe move up to a $1,400 Kamado Joe or something. It's all up to you. It's as much as you want to spend. This was I want to say it was like $174 on their website. I'm not sure. But all it does, and I say all it does what it's supposed to. It controls the temperature inside this heat chamber. It doesn't give you any additional information. It doesn't transfer it by Bluetooth or Wi-Fi. That's the reason I keep using this little Maverick. The cost of these things can escalate quickly. Barbecue Guru or somebody's got one. It's over $300. But it'll hook up to your Wi-Fi and send messages to your smartphone. You can control your pit temp from Walmart if you wanted to. I don't know. So, this, for my budget, does exactly what I wanted it to do, and it allows me to do things I wanted to do, like set this pit up at 11 o'clock last night, get meat on by 12, and go to bed, knowing that it was going to be fine. I wake up this morning, it's still trucking right along at 224 degrees because I didn't hit 225 for some reason. So anyway, I got these briskets wrapped up, put my meat probe back in. Like I said, I can't remember now what time it is. 10 till 8. I'm supposed to have these briskets at the picnic by 4, sliced and ready to go. I see no reason why it shouldn't, but I'm hoping to have these off here at least by 12. Right now, I guess that 174 has hit that stall and it ain't moved. So I may turn it up to 250 here in another hour or so if it hadn't moved anymore, just kind of push it through that stall. So, anywho, if I think anything else, I'll let you know. Yep. I'm gonna call this a done deal, y'all. 12 hours in, it's 2:25. Well, it's 2:28 anyway. You can see it worked out. But it is 10 minutes after 12 and we are absolutely 12 hours into this. The internal temperature is up to 207. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull them off. I don't have to have them ready for the cookout for the picnic until 4 o'clock this evening. I'm going to take them in the house and let them rest. I want to open this one up and see what it looks like though. See that? See that? That's what I'm talking about. Oh yeah. Oh, good Lord. Look at there. Yeah, if you tried to cut that right now, it'd just fall apart. So I'm gonna wrap this back up, take it back to the house. I'm gonna let it sit for a few hours. I'm not even gonna try to cut it. I'm thinking I'm gonna let it sit at least 2 hours before I try to start cutting it. I can tell all that air, that smoke coming up back there, that air coming up to those coals, getting that fire hot again. It's a good thing I'm shutting it down. Look at there. There's still plenty of liquid left in that tray. I put water in it. At the start, I put about a gallon of water in that big pan. About 12 hours ago, I hadn't added any more water to it. All that's in there is like a mixture of the fat that dripped off the meat and the water. I guess if a feller had a mind to, he could take an oil separator, separate the fat out of that and make some sort of gravy with it. What do they call that? Au jus. Yeah, it's fat juice. Anywho, I'll see you next time whenever we start cutting it up. Now these briskets have been resting for 2 hours now. So have I. Had quite the nap. And as you can see, I just was trying to scoot this along here and this just ripped right off of it. Let's see. It's just falling apart. Yeah, that's edible. Let's start cutting. See, it pulls right apart. Okay. And it too is delicious. Trying to get it to lay right in that pan. Cut it right. I'm gonna cut it right here. Oh man, that just goes through like butter. You see, I cook mine fat side up. Fat side up, fat side down is gonna be a debate for the ages. But the reason I do mine, a lot of people will say cook it fat side down because the fat cap will protect it from the heat from the bottom, especially in a Kamado style grill. But whenever they cook, see how soft and tender that fat gets? It just gets really wishy-washy. And whenever you go try to pick it up or something and it's on the bottom, you just destroy all that. And it's like butter and it becomes like, well, like picking up a greased pig or something. It's not easy to pick up at all. So I just leave the fat on there, cook it fat side up. Look at that. That just goes right through there. How's that? That'll work, huh? Gosh almighty. That's good stuff, y'all. That is delicious. after 2 hours, this thing is still warm. Smoking hot wife says, uh-huh. That. I appreciate y'all spending time with me today. Peace and good karma, y'all. End of line.